Hello, dreamy people, and welcome to another exciting day in the Writer's Haven. This is your host, Helena, and I'm here with my dear friend, Paulette Foxx-Dawodu, who wrote a phenomenal book entitled Exceptional Service: How to Keep Loyal Customers. It's a book about how you, as an employee or employer, can ensure good branding by providing stellar service. There are some golden nuggets here that you don't want to miss. So without further ado, please welcome Paulette to the Haven.
Thank you.
So good to have you. This is one of my best girlfriends who wrote this excellent, awesome book. What year did you write this?
In 1921.
1921, so during COVID.
Right. So that's 2021. I stand corrected.
Okay.
2021.
2021.
Right
okay.
around that time frame.
And I think I know what inspired it, but tell the audience what inspired you to write this book.
So one of the things that I thought about was the importance of writing something that I actually demonstrated and I was practicing. And as I received new assignments and new projects, I wanted to be consistent with the approach. So one of my colleagues suggested that because I would receive the team, when I say I, really the team, when we would receive raving reviews, I wanted to be sure that we followed the process that worked. So based on the results of the surveys and the feedback, it motivated me to write the book so I didn't have to reinvent the wheel.
Wow, you know what, that's really interesting to hear something that you said near the tail end about the surveys, because many times there are customer service surveys that are sent out and some people totally ignore them. They, myself included, don't have the time. Be sitting here trying to help you figure out what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right.
That's right.
But then there are others, and sometimes this is me too, depending upon the company and how much I have invested in it. And I don't mean monetary investment, I mean just as a consumer of their products or services. And I do want them to give good customer service because I'm using them a lot. And so I'll fill out the survey. But the interesting thing that you just said was that information is collected, which we know, but whatever happens to it? I go into the same store and it's the same stuff over and over again. I'm like, are they not reading my survey? So in what you just said, for the organizations that you have been affiliated with, you were the one that would take in this information and you decided to write a book about the finer points that came out of those kinds of engagements.
That's correct. In fact, I look at feedback as a gift. And whether it's at work or even at home with your significant other, we have to pause to listen, to understand, so that we can put things back on track and move forward or continue to do what we know works well.
Right. And so I didn't intend to jump into this quickly, but since you brought up the key word there, listening, you talk about active listening. And there was one thing that you said that really resonated with me. You said, limit distractions, including biases, so you can listen intently. Unpack that a little bit more for us.
So what's important is that when you're interacting with, whether it's a stakeholder or a customer, even a significant other, you have to really concentrate on what they are saying. What is the real message? And the only way that you can do that effectively is through asking questions, engaging with them, giving them direct eye contact. Sometimes I even say, look at their right eye, so that you continue to look, but don't look at a point where it makes them feel uncomfortable. So it's healthy to look away and then come back again. Read what they're saying non-verbally as well. And when you don't understand, ask questions to fully grasp what they're saying.
Right.
And I think it's important for us to do that, not only as we listen to stakeholders, but as we listen to people in the store as well, because that way, if we don't get it, they will let us know. Oftentimes I say it's important to paraphrase, because if I don't fully think I, captured everything that you're saying, I then paraphrase. Oh, what I heard you say is this, so that if you correct me, then I get that information as well, and that's what I target.
Wow.
Plus, it's cost efficient. It's cost effective. It reduces some of that because we don't want to deliver something you didn't ask for. So the only way that I know what you need is through question technique and listening attentively to what it is you're sharing.
Right, and you know what? There's that noise that many of us have in the back of our mind when we're talking to someone and we're not actively listening. And then, as you said, there are biases. You know, if we're asking someone a question, sometimes in our mind we think we already know the answer, so we're not listening.
That's right.
To the answer. How does one overcome that?
Yeah, I would say that when you start to get distracted, maybe you're thinking about cooking or eating lunch or something like that, you might want to write that idea down if you can. And when you write it down or you think about it, allow yourself to think about it quickly, it leaves you. I remember when I was in graduate school and I would get so distracted because I thought about things that would happen the night before that, we had a great time. And the instructor is trying to present material on organizational development or something like that. And I would get distracted because I was thinking about what happened the night before. But when I wrote that down, or I was able to think about it just for a second, then it allowed me to get back in the game and play.
Right.
And give you my full attention.
Well, how does that work, particularly with the younger generation, who it's kind of like a microwave society for them? And there have been actual studies that were done on the attention span of young people. I was going to say present company excluded in the audience, but but them too.
Right.
Who, that's why Instagram is just such a great vehicle of communication for them. It's quick. And then there's another, trying to remember what the other social media, is it Snapchat? I don't know.
Yeah,
don't even get me started.
Instagram,
look, I'm over
right.
50, so I don't know about all these little new things that they're doing. Right. But in any event, but it's a way that they communicate that is so incredibly quick and to the point. And, for me, I like quick and to the point too. Correct. So I'm not listening because I'm waiting for you to get to the point where I need to actually, okay, now I'm going to focus in, because all this other stuff you said is just, it's important to you, but I don't really need to hear all that.
Correct.
So you talked a minute ago about relationships, and I think you meant like not just employee-employer, but in your personal relationships.
Sure.
So how does that resonate for the younger people? And you can also parlay it with having younger people as employees.
Yes. I find that a blended approach could be helpful, so we know that they do have a microwave mentality. They go in and out very quickly. And if it's something they don't want to hear, or it doesn't resonate with them, they're gone someplace else, and we know that. So if I find that you're a strong auditory person, it depends on the way that you listen and learn. And when you are observing the customer, you will understand their way of processing information. You then have to become a little creative to keep them attentive. And sometimes it's through asking questions or redirecting them in a polite way. Right, of course. But they need to be redirected so that you can continue to have exchange with them. I even think about some of the students that we dealt with as stakeholders, and they would literally look away or look down at their technology. And so I would be quiet. I would pause and say nothing. And they will look up because it's like, oh, this person isn't saying anything, and then I would re-engage again. Wow. So it's important that you analyze a person and then meet them where they are. Right. That is a really, really good and important point, I think, because there are generational differences and the exposures that we had growing up versus what they have, and the distractions in general. So thank you for that. You also encourage listening tours. Talk to us about what a listening tour is and why it's important. It is so important. Let me explain to you what it is. It's actually a project, an assignment, where your task is to go out to understand a process. So it could be a process, or it could be a scenario where you're trying to get additional information on something that doesn't work effectively. You've concluded that you need help with a process. And so with leaders and others who are in that role, their job is to go out and just observe, to understand, listen, to document, so that we could fully understand the process that they experience. And on those listening tours, this is just one example. You're not doing any talking. I know IT, because I have over 20 some years with
Right.
IT, we tend to do a lot of talking. And with the listening tour,
Tech talking.
yeah, tech talking.
On top of that.
On top of that. And then we think we know what the user wants, which is bad. So one of the assignments would be to listen. You have to listen to understand and ask questions to fully understand the process before we recommend process improvement. So even when employees start new positions and they're leaders, I always say that you go on a listening tool to understand the things that work for employees, the things that need some attention, call them areas of opportunity, and all you're doing is listening to understand, so that you can help to either say what you're doing is great, continue to do it, or let's have a conversation about some things we need to be open about doing differently.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me, in your own words, because I read it, but I want our audience to hear it, about your day at Bloomingdale's and what happened and how that played into active listening and the book in general.
I'm glad you mentioned and asked about it. I was wanting to go shopping at Bloomingdale's, and I knew before I got out of the car that I just needed 2 dresses, and quite often I know what I want. I go in very quickly to leave very quickly. And when I got there, this salesperson by the name of Michelle, I cannot remember her last name.
Would you say it on the air? If you relax.
I wouldn't say it on the air.
Go put her off Front Street.
Right. Right. Send her all the customers, because she was exceptional. Okay, so she had asked what was I looking for, and I looked at her as an interruption. I thought, I want to get in here very quickly and get out. Why are you asking me what I want? Oh, I said, okay, I need some dresses for the office, and I need something to come down below the knee. And she said, okay, and she told me what section to go to. And I said, okay. And she didn't say over there, she said, let me walk with you. And I'm thinking to myself, get away from me. You are bothering me. So I went over, and what she decided to do was to take the information that I gave her, and it wasn't much. She observed me a little while. I did not realize that. And she started to go shopping for me. She came over and she said, do you like this, Paulette? And I looked at it and I said, no, that's not my style. And I'm thinking to myself, will she go to lunch? I don't need her running around the store finding things for me. Well, guess what?
Like.
That I'm not gonna like. And she eventually, within less than 5 minutes, she got it. And she started bringing me things that I like. And she ended up, she convinced me to try them on. And I did that, and I ended up buying four to five dresses.
You went in for 2 and you came
I
out
went.
with 4
That's
or 5.
right. A top and some pants. And not only that, when I got to the cash register, because even when other people wanted to talk to her, ask her a quick question, she said, look, I'm waiting on her right now, and I'll be with you in a second. She would give them eye contact, let them know, but came right back to me. I was most definitely a priority. And she said, oh, by the way, we have additional discounts. And she helped me to figure out the additional discounts that I earned. She was amazing. And I ended up loving her forever.
So that was your example of stellar customer service.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
which we've lost a lot in the stores. I almost feel like with the stores that we shop in, whether it's grocery shopping or the mall, that we are interruptions. So to have an experience where I wasn't